Hello again, everyone. Today I have kind of an exciting video to share with you, and this is going to be as exciting for me as it is for you because this will be the first time I'm doing this reveal. So these are basically bundles of botanically printed journals. And what that means is basically I put a bunch of flower petals and other organic material inside these handmade journals, and then I steamed them. I think I steamed these for an hour, even though I think you can steam them for less time. I kind of erred on the side of doing more, but I wanted to document my unveiling to myself so that you could also benefit from that. And I'm doing these as part of a free online class, which will now have long since been over. But I will put a link below to the person who is offering it because I think that they do offer it occasionally. Because I think last year at least it was also offered. But this is just with natural materials. There's no kind of chemical or any kind of additional thing to set any of the dye in here. Well, the dye from the flowers. So this is just with water and just with organic materials like flower petals, leaves, etc. So I have no idea what this is going to look like. So this will be kind of exciting. I have taken off my leather mat on my table here just so that I can leave these here because these are still wet. I boiled them late last night and then just left them in the pot overnight so that they could cool, and they're now fully cooled so that I can unwrap them. But I will also have to let this fully dry before I do anything with the journal. So I made two. I made a larger and a smaller one, obviously. And I used all kinds of papers that were like leftover collage papers. I used regular paper. I used paper scraps and all kinds of stuff. The outside is of both of these is actually a file folder, so a thicker file folder. So I did that so that the cover would be a little thicker. I am actually going to start with the little one and then we will move on to the big one. I bundled this one after I bundled this one. So we'll see if there's any difference. And I have and this is actually the paper towel that I had under these while I was carrying them around. I have a little bowl here to keep the flower material in. I'm actually going to put this larger one off to the side of that bowl. And this is actually one of the stems that came out of here already. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And I just have kitchen twine on here, and I didn't tie it. I didn't knot it. I just wrapped it around and then tucked it in. So we will see how this goes. I think I'll just put that over there because I may want to use it again. So even though this is a flat journal, I did kind of manipulate it to be in a little rounded shape. So I'm going to try and get it back into its original journal shape. So as you can see, it was a file folder, so that's the little tab. I'd ripped it in half. So now, again, there's still some of the fresh flowers on here. This is just an old kitchen towel. I had been doing some cyanotype prints on here, so there's some leftover cyanotype stuff on there, but I figured this would be good to protect the table and, you know, to collect any of this excess flower stuff. Okay, so let's get in here. This one might be less exciting than the other one, which is kind of why I wanted to do that one second, because there's probably less variety, because by the time I had filled my larger bundle, I didn't have as many flowers. And I can't guarantee that all of the pages will have spectacular prints because I just basically got a bunch of flowers from the grocery store and I tried all of them. I know that roses will print, so I have some roses in here, but everything else, I had no idea. So let's go ahead and see. So exciting. Okay, so this first page just had some leaves. So obviously the leaves didn't do much. But you are getting some tinting of the pages, and this will probably change as it, so here you can see it, this will show up more. So here, this was just a little, actually, I don't know what kind of flower this was. It was a weird flower, but it clearly has printed a little bit. And then I have an onion skin here, which onion skin prints really well. I only put a few here. And some of these papers are rather thin, so I want to be really careful with them. Okay, and these clearly printed, so you can see an outline here of this. And this is a very inexact process. This is the first time that I've done this at home. I have taken a class before. Oh, you can see these stems actually printed pretty well. That's kind of nice. I have taken a class before where we used Mordant. That's what the material, I mean, it's a variety of things, but Mordant basically sets the dye into, in that case, it was fabric. This case, it's paper. And that worked really, really well. I made a really beautiful scarf with that, with all kinds of leaves. Okay, and you can actually see there's some really nice printing in here, which is nice because I know that there were a lot of those flowers throughout. And this, it's some more stems and then breaking up little bits of flower. So it's gonna have these sort of, you know, not super defined images here, but that is okay. I took some of the rose stems and things like that and other stems, so I didn't know if they would work or not. And this one is, some of the color over here might actually be coming from this, which is a watercolor, just sort of an abstract watercolor that I did on watercolor paper, but I wanted to see how it would work here. Ooh, that's kind of nice there. So I'm definitely getting some of the imprints from the stems there. And these flowers are kind of gooey at this point because I have a whole bunch of little itty bitty leaves that I had scattered in here. And I'm going to try and get most of them up, but I may have to come back in after it's dried and see. Although supposedly if they dry on here, some of them might stick permanently, and then you just kind of have that in there. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So all of this up here was not here. This was sort of a dark green and pink and purple painting, but you can see where all these were. I think watercolor paper tends to print really well with botanical prints, so I'm not really that surprised here that printed well. Okay, ooh, and ooh, so far so good. I mean, look at that, that's pretty cool. This is the other side of the watercolor paper, so this was the unpainted side. But yeah, watercolor paper seems to work really well. I mean, look at that. And this was a collaged piece of paper, or not a collage. This was, this has acrylic paint on it, where I had stamped on it with, this was some patterned wallpaper. And it's kind of hard for me to tell if that will, well, yeah, oops. Let's see, that's what you have to watch out for with the thinner papers. I'm gonna try and be delicate and not break them. And yeah, so that's really cool. That's really cool on the back, because I think the acrylic paint kind of acts as a resist, so it doesn't take the paint super well, or take the natural dyes from the flowers super well. And here, and some of these will show up better when they're dried. And I think I might actually do a follow-up video, a follow-up flip through once these are dried so you can see the difference. And given how long it's been taking me to just do this one, I might separate these two into 2 different videos just so that we can, that didn't really do much. Just so that you can have some separation there and not such a long video, because that big one is pretty fat. We'll see when I get it done with this one. Okay, so this, the leaf, I can see an imprint of the leaf here. That's really super nice. Again, where I had acrylic paint, it didn't really do much. I had this folded over. I can see a little bit of an imprint, but I'm not sure if that's going to come out when it's dried. Again, I see a little bit, but here that worked really well. So definitely sort of the blank paper is working better than a lot of the things. And I don't know what kind of flower this was. It was sort of like a fuzzy flower, but it definitely seems to print. And I do have some fabric in the middle of both of these. So, and this was a sort of a lighter colored flower, and I didn't know how it would work, but it does look like the imprint is there. Not so much on the fabric though. Let's see. So here it just sort of looks like we've got some color, not so much. Oh, well, there's some printing there going on. Interesting to know that these print on the fabric. And I just used some embroidery thread to tie this journal together. So that's what you're seeing there. And like I said, if you use something to set the prints, like what's called a mordant, you will get some more distinct prints. I think the idea behind doing this for this one is that for the class, we're going to be doing stuff on top of it. So I think that's why you don't want like beautiful flower prints that you're then going to cover up with journaling and stuff. So these actually came out pretty well. I mean, look at that. That's really super cool there. And like I said, it'll be a little bit different once the paper has kind of lightened up after it's dried. I'm really happy that those are printing because I had a lot of them. Okay, and this, no, that was just one of the lighter flowers. That didn't seem to print all that much. And as you can see, I was kind of running out of some of my flowers here at the end. So, oh, I think we're doing pretty good. I can do the other one. And this was, oh, wow, look at that. That's really super pretty. I've done this a few times of just the whole flower because I kind of wanted to see what it would look like. And that is gorgeous. I did another one on the next page. Oh, and that actually went through, it looks like, to the next page. Wow. Okay. So this is definitely my favorite page so far. Really super pretty there. This is that watercolor paper again, which seems to really print well. I think in future I might do more pages of watercolor paper if I try this again, because this side also has printed really nicely. These were some lighter flowers, but I think it might have actually soaked through from the other page. Pretty happy with this overall. And like I said, this one had less variety than the next one I'm going to show you. So we shall see. Yeah, this worked really well on here too. Ugh, these flowers are kind of gooey at this point. I really did steam this for a long time. I think the longer you steam it, the more the imprints will happen, but I'm not entirely certain. And I'll come through here again and do a little bit of cleanup on the next one. Yeah, and there's another full flower there, really pretty on the back. And it even printed on this brown paper pretty well, but it's kind of hard to make out. You can kind of see that there. All right, let's go on to the next one. Not sure if that will turn into much. But again, I'm getting lots of, okay, and I did another full flower here. I can kind of see the imprint here, even though this had some acrylic on it, and definitely can see some on the back page here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and shift over to the other one. I'm going to, this is all kind of a wet mess now. Not sure why I got these little marks on here. It might have, it was a new steamer, so that might have been it. Okay, I'm gonna put that up in the corner here. And yeah, we're doing okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do these all in one go. And now I've kind of introduced it, so I don't have to do that again for this one. And this one is much bigger. And let's see if I can sort of flatten that out a little bit. And I just kind of threw some flowers in at the end. Okay. And I did the same thing here. I just sewed this together with embroidery thread. Okay, so let me make sure you can see both sides here. Okay. And again, this was another acrylic page, so I didn't know how well this would come out. I did put some onion skins in here, again, because I knew that onion skins would stain the paper. So there probably will be some more defined stuff here once it dries. But here, again, it didn't really do all that much. Okay, so here's a full flower. Didn't really do much. Okay, but I'm definitely getting some colors here. Ooh, so this one looks like it might have worked a little bit. And this is a really thin tissue paper here, which had some stuff printed on it, and I can see a little bit of the shape there. Definitely more showing up over here. But again, it's kind of hard to make it out when it is wet, but I think you can make out sort of the flower definition there. You can even make it out on the back. Okay, and another one of these, which didn't seem to do much. So, okay. So like I said, I have more variety in this one, which could, oh, we'll see. So these are the rose leaves, which I knew would make a print. So you're definitely seeing the print of that here. I'm not sure how much that'll show up here, but I can see some of the imprint there, because again, this is a paper with acrylic on it. And then here are some more. You can see the outline of the leaves here. So that's probably going to be pretty fun. And like I said, I will go through this again once it has dried. Okay, so, oh, so this is interesting. So this had some acrylic on it. So that was another rose leaf. So that did actually make an impression. And then over here, this is a Citrusol print on a National Geographic magazine. You can Google that a little bit if you want to find out more. And I am actually seeing a slight imprint on that. So it'll be interesting to see what that does when it dries. There's another one here, and there's some rose petals. Kind of hard to tell at this point. I mean, the blanker the page, the better, I think, when you're doing this printing, but I did kind of want to try a variety of things. And as you can see, so that leaf print came out over here a little bit. And like I said, these aren't going to be spectacular just because of the nature of the printing process, and I didn't know which flowers would print. But I'm definitely seeing some stuff here. So basically I put the middle of the flower there, which definitely showed up in some little dots. And these were some rose leaves again. I think this one's probably going to show up better when it's dry. Gorgeous. And I basically had to deal with what I had as far as flowers go. That's got some really interesting shapes on it on this side. You definitely can see, and I think that a lot of those, this had acrylic here too again, but oh, and it's interesting. So this had some pen marks on it, and it looks like the pen marks have transferred to the other page. So that's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. And this had some acrylic on it. And this, yeah, here you're getting some better prints because this is, so that's a rose leaf. So you can see that imprint there. This is some red onion skins, which are definitely getting more color there with those. And onion skins are actually the only thing in this bundle that I have used before. I used in that fabric printing I did. And it seems to go through the page, so you're even getting the benefit on the next page. And this actually has some really cool little flower shapes. Excellent. I'm really excited about that. Hard to tell over here, because again, this is another acrylic page, and I think it's a thinner material, so I'll have to be careful when I flip the page. So, ooh, that's so smushy. So this one looked like it kind of active. Oh, because this had gouache on it. So this is a water soluble paint that was on this page. As you can see when I rub off, there is some staining there. So that's probably what's coming off on the other page. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to use all these different kinds of paper with different things on them, so I could see how they would print. Although it does look like it may have prevented the onion skin from printing. Okay. And ugh, these flowers in particular are really kind of gross and mushy. Because like I said, I did steam this for a long time. So essentially it's like these got steamed like a vegetable in this little bundle here. But that's good. I mean, we wanted it to do that. All right, I'm just gonna leave that for now and see what happens when it dries. There's another onion skin on, this is sort of a harder paper, so you can see a little bit of staining there. This particular flower didn't seem to print much. This was a yellow multi-petaled flower. I'm not good with names of flowers, so I am not going to know what all these are. Okay, and here you see some more. Oh, did I skip a page? I think I did, because it's a really thin, yeah, it's a really thin page in between. So this one actually got some nice stuff on this side, probably because of this over here. So the back without the print on it got some actually those little yellow flowers did seem to print on this blank paper, so that's nice. But it'll be interesting to see, like I said, when it dries, what has changed and what hasn't on some of these papers, because right now it might be a little hard to tell. So this is a tissue paper, and so this page has some acrylic on it, and this side did not, but it got some really nice prints from the onion skins. I did try to spread these out a little bit in here so that I would definitely have some pages with some new color on them. I can tell from the other side that whatever flower that was printed pretty well. And these I just got off, you know, the extra onion skins from the onions I had in my cabinet. So those are pretty good. And yeah, this looks like a really interesting combination. I think this might have been rose petals. I cannot remember, because rose petals will print, and so will rose leaves. But yeah, I've got some really interesting things here, and I don't even know what that's from. That could be from, you know, some stuff on other pages. So I did have, so this is actually very interesting. So this fabric I had dyed, but had not put any mordant in it to set the color. So some of this might be that rubbing off, but this used to be a pink fabric, and now it has faded into sort of this more muted tone. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. These flowers didn't really print, so we're not getting a whole lot, but I see some bleed through from another flower on another page. So some are clearly much stronger than others. I think the darker colored flowers seem to work a little better, because I did have some white flowers in here too, which really didn't do much. Okay, so it's all an experiment. And these, I think, are more rose leaves. Yeah, because I mean, look at that. And it didn't really print very well on the fabric, but I did get some interesting, like there, I think that's actually from the string that printed over here. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And I think this will be a good backdrop for some journaling for sure. But this is definitely a beautiful page. This page is also really beautiful. I know these were rose petals, so rose petals, always a hit for this kind of thing, and the leaves. So you've got a pretty nice imprint of the petals over here. Let's see. Okay, so that's actually another really thin, or is it? Yeah. So it's a really thin paper. I think this is like a deli paper here, where I had done some prints on there. But the other page, I mean, check that out. That's where that onion skin was. That's where that rose petal was. And that's where that is. And, uh-oh, looks like this paper broke. So this was a really thin tissue paper that's in between here. Let me actually try to piece that together. Oh my goodness, it's so delicate. Yeah, so that might be a loss as far as, we'll see when it dries. But here I've actually got some good printing here on this page. And again, you know, if I get some crisp flower prints, that's great. But this kind of printing is meant to be a little bit more subtle. So let's see if I can get some of these leaves off this tissue. I don't think I have anything on the other side of this tissue, so I'm just gonna leave that the way it is so that I don't tear that more. And okay, so this was some more gouache here, but you can see it left a really nice imprint of this leaf. And on this side, you've got a little bit more of a true impression of the leaf. And again, it's harder to see now because it is all kind of translucent more than it would be because of the wetness. Okay, I don't think I put anything here, and that was partially because these things are kind of printed here. That actually is a tissue paper here, so I'm going to be kind of delicate. And those just may end up breaking and being a loss. These were more rose petals. And you can see some of the color that was on here. I think this was an oil pastel that was on this side, and it looks like it came off onto the petal, but pretty cool. Oh, definitely some really nice petal shapes here. Yeah, here as well. That's pretty defined. I decided to put a whole rose here. It didn't entirely print, but I've definitely got sort of the outline of that there. Really nice. So you could probably make a whole book like this with just roses, and it would be really nice. Okay, so there's one of these dud flowers. It didn't really do much, but we're definitely getting some on the other side with this one. Uh-oh. Let's see if I can get that off in one piece. No. But this one is very pretty. You've got a whole flower thing going on, and then that transferred to the other side, which is nice. And then, oh, it transferred here too, so that's good. Here's some more rose petals, but it's kind of hard to see with the acrylic on here. I don't know that there's a little bit of a shape. And then this is that Citrusol paper, which it looks like there are some shapes. I didn't know if this would print at all, so this was kind of a test case here. And let's see. Yeah, this doesn't seem to have printed much. I was trying not to put like the super duper things on the pages with acrylic because I figured it probably wouldn't print all that well. But oh, that's really, really nice. Let me see. Got some nice flower outlines here. Super pretty. These are all, I think, rose petals. I don't think these leaves, I think these leaves were something different, but they seem to have printed fairly well. And yeah, super nice. Everything is definitely much smushier than when I put it in here. Okay, so let's go on to the next page. Okay, a stem. I put a lot of stems in here to see. Looks like this flower didn't really print very well. This little one. This one came in little buds. Although it looks like, oops, gotta be careful with these pages. Oh yeah, because there was one in between. Okay, a couple in between actually. Ooh, so this one actually turned out nice. So yeah, not a lot of defined prints, but I have kind of learned, you know, which ones will not work at all, and that's always good to know. And you're probably like, this all looks like a big old smushy mess, lady. But like I said, I will do a follow-up so that you can see what these look like when they are dry. It probably take a little while to dry, like a day or two. I live in Colorado, so hopefully it won't take too long, but we have had some thunderstorms of late, making the air a little bit more damp than normal. But yeah, see, I've definitely gotten some nice defined stuff up there. I don't think, okay, so I already took the stuff that was off here. And just some nice staining more than defined areas. And I think we're approaching the end of this book. These are going to be hard to get up. Not seeing much effect of these, but I'm going to kind of withhold judgment until I see them when they're dried. And I'm hoping that I can kind of brush this off a little better once it is dried, because these in particular really smushed up. Okay. Yep, clearly this is what I had left at the end of this one. I was just throwing them in there. All right. Super mushy. Yeah, if you like dealing with mushy flowers, this is for you. And I wonder, like, if I just kind of leave this here, whether it will stay, because the petals themselves will give sort of a yellow tinge. Okay, so that's the back, and you can actually see the string imprinted there. I kind of like this funky look, so this is a success for me. But I would like to try more of this with some Mordant, because that would probably be more defined. Oops. Yeah, I wonder if I went back through here, I would find some pages I missed. Oh no, I just tore through that paper. Okay. Once it dries, it'll strengthen up again, but try not to do that too much. And this was clearly a pretty thick paper, but I really like the effect. Not sure how this will end up looking, but I do have some flower imprints, so it will be interesting to see. It looks like I left one there. And this one is definitely successful. That one looks really nice. And that went all the way through. Did I have, no, that was just folded. Okay, so let's stretch that back out. Interesting to know that the, that may have been pencil or pen, I don't know, but that clearly bled through, so that's kind of interesting. Really, really cool on that page. Yeah, this one I have to be careful with because it is tissue. Yeah, and we got some bleed from the gouache itself, so that'll be neat to see at the end. That was that really light tissue paper, which I'm trying not to mess with too much. Yeah, let's see. Did I get, well, it looks like no, I got those. So really nice petal effects there. This got some really nice stuff up here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Very interesting to see that this completely lost its redder color. I think I had put madder root in this, but like I said, with no mordant. More of those onion skins. Yeah, super cool. And I'll do a quick recap of the smaller one too. Yeah, so this this gouache is definitely transferring, and I really love this little flower here. So this kind of printing is fun because it's almost like, you know, just playing around, and you never know what you're gonna get. But this is my first time doing this with paper, so, and yeah, you can definitely see some outline of the floral pattern, and it definitely seems like thicker mixed media or watercolor paper seems to work a little better, although that one had a pretty good imprint, and I think that's just like a drawing paper. And yeah, I've got a really nice flower print there. Okay. And like I said, even though we didn't get like super defined stuff, we have some nice coloring here. Ooh, looks like that paper's falling apart, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. All right, so there's that one. And let's do a quick flip through of this one again. So it's kind of interesting. I think this one was actually more successful, even though I didn't think it would be. Probably because I used more of those purple flowers, and I've got like nice little imprint there. Very interesting how the paper from one side bled to another. Yeah, the stems really showed up pretty well. Nice. More stems on that watercolor paper. Yeah, this side, you can see that worked well. And worked pretty well on the back there. So yeah, in future, I'll probably try to focus more on using, actually, there's a nice little leaf imprint there. Using more of the darker flowers, although that leaf turned out nice. Some of the darker flowers and more thicker paper, like a watercolor paper, because they worked pretty well. And yeah, I didn't get too much on this fabric in here, which is kind of interesting. And these turned out really nice here. Yeah, and that one's probably one of the most successful ones here, which went through several pages, and this is probably my favorite page of any of them, so I'll have to remember that the purple flowers do that. And then, yeah, we've got some good pages back here. I think that one flower just like went through several pages, so clearly that's pretty strong. And then we had a pretty good flower here at the end. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to show you today. I will dry these. Probably just try to sit them out in a fairly sunny place. And then here we have all the all the plant material that I took out of there. There's still some gooey plant material left in here. This was just regular kitchen twine, and it looks like that got colored just a little bit, so that's kind of cool too. I might use that at some point. But there you go. And I will try to remember to do a follow-up video once these are dried so I can show you what they look like when they're dried. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.